Right, well I went and got the fan I selected last night and they had it in stock, which made me happy. So here it is, all mounted up to the radiator. I cleaned out the radiator, that's all nice and pretty. I've done the condenser coil too. But let's give this a so-called bench test before I put it in the car. Put the camera down. It works. Cool. Yeah, no wonder the other fan didn't have a chance, because it's 3/4 and, 3 tubes thick. It's just too much for the other fan. I've shipped from standard, but yeah, this should do it. And I'll leave the other fan on the front to the other side, so it's got airflow through both sides. That should work. Well, I've given the front a nice clean. It's still wet, so that's why it looks a bit odd. But yeah, figured I'd test run this fan now and just see what exactly it does without the radiator in. Yeah, it's not too bad. Well, I've got to put it together now, and I'll do some testing to decide whether they both come on together when the radiator or engine calls for cooling. They definitely both will come on when the aircon's on, but just got to work out if just the one can do it without aircon, or if need both. Tomorrow should be a good test day for that, and then I'll do the wiring. Now I'm going to try and warm this Volvo up just a bit now. So let's see what it does. Well, I've worked out this is where the gauge should sit for normal temperature. And when it gets to that line, I'd say that's where the fan should come on. Just before middle. And if you remember the last video I had of this, it was over here. That's as hot as it'll get. The gauge doesn't really go much further. So, yeah. So I'd be wanting the fan to come on about now, I'd say. Well, it's around about 30 degrees Celsius today, and I've already been for a nice long drive through traffic in all conditions. Just sat there idling, and I didn't have any problems. So now it's already hot. I'm going to go for another drive. See if it starts again. Cool. Some air conditioning. Got the jumper pack just in case. I'll go for another evil drive for it. I decided to make it so the radiator fan I put in is always on. This engine makes a lot of heat, especially because the exhaust is under the inlet manifold. You just want airflow all the time over that. Oh well, the conclusion I've come to it, much better, much better. I've been through traffic, stopped for fuel, which took for ages. Done all sorts of things, and it's got a bit hot on me and cooled back again, but the conclusion is it's just a shit engine when it comes to cooling. It makes too much heat. Within 10 seconds of starting it, the exhaust's already burning hot. So it's just the design of the head and the cooling galleries and all that shit. I think it's much better than it was. Got this annoying little misfire I've got to find. Not on one cylinder, it just cuts out altogether, so use something ignition module or injector module, or a bad earth. tried it with the aircon off and it still does it, so it's not a power drop issue. Jumper pack move. The drain in this isn't any good. You can hear the water bubbling around in there, so I'm going to see if I can redo it. Waiting for the car to come. Yeah, hang on. No power steering. Remember the last video of driving this thing, it was quite hot by now. Especially when I did something like this. Just pull over for a bit. And I'll wait the exact same time. I'll give it 40 seconds and then start the video again. Oh, that's 40 seconds. So it goes up a little bit. I was just looking. Starting to ice up, so it hasn't got a full charge of gas. When I take off, that temperature should go up a bit now because the water pump is shit full in this car. It's just a bad design. So when it's at idle, it's not getting proper water flow. When I take off, the temperature go up and then come back again as it throws all the hot water past the sensor. You gotta remember, I'm just cruising around back streets at the moment, so there's no real good airflow. It's all just depending on the fans now. It is quite a warm day. Now I'm trying to make it overheat, going up hills and start and stop. This is the worst thing for it. uphill, you can see the gradient of this. That's camera. That's steep. We're going to turn into it. Then come to a stop again. That's what makes the engine hot. Ah, that's stable there. Then take off again uphill. And another stop sign. And if I turn right, it's uphill again. There's that misfire. And another stop sign. I would have boiled it last test, guys. Yeah, it's going up a little bit. I'll start this video again in a minute. I'm almost back now. Done a fair bit of driving in this today. Used 7 litres of petrol. And I'll show you the problem it's got when I get back. I was just about to do a video on the Volvo and I noticed something in the back window. Oh, isn't that cute? Hello back there. Oi, Jack. Perfect little home for him. Aw, so cute. Oh, after today I can see what this engine's like, and it's one of the worst engines I've ever seen when it comes to temperature. I'd say it was built for the snow. Quick warm up, stays warm for a long time, and you know, runs nice and hot so the heater works and all that other stuff. And it just makes a ridiculous amount of heat. But heat soak is a big issue on this because it's got all of this, you know, cast iron basically. It's not an alloy head. You can see how thick the head is. So that all heats up and that gets really hot. It probably hasn't got many water galleries in the head. It's got that huge manifold they've stolen off Mercedes. That's what it looks like. Yeah. When you turn it off, it just boils. That's it. If it's running at half temperature, when you turn it off, it boils. You just feel bubbles going blub 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 through the top hose. And then when you go to start it again, if you just stop for fuel or something, she's hot. Because when the engine boils, you get steam pockets that get really hot. So it has trouble dealing with that. So now I've changed the way I've done things in the engine bay here. This fan will run continuous all the time. So as soon as you turn the ignition on, that comes on. So that's wired up to do that. Because this makes a lot of heat. After 10 seconds of running, you can boil water in that. That exhaust is just ridiculously hot. So it needs fanage all the time to keep the injectors and the fuel line somewhat cool. So that stays on all the time. When you turn on the air conditioning, that front fan comes on, so you would have seen previously. It was already in the car. But now I've wired it up so when this thermal switch kicks in, it will turn on that front fan as well. So when it gets warm, you know, like a bit hotter than you'd want, that front fan will come on and hopefully bring it under control. So after heat soak, if you stop for fuel and get back in the car, that fan should come on straight away at the front. So yeah, but apart from that, it did pretty well today, but just I don't think these engines can do it in this country. You need a much bigger radiator, bigger hoses, bigger water pump. It's just, yeah, not the best. Not the best at all. Because yeah, my Toyota, the Corona Mark II I got in the backyard has a 1900 4-cylinder, the same head design as this, like, you know, flowback, but inlet and exhaust are on the same side. It's a cast iron head, overhead cam, which I don't believe this is. Don't look like it. I don't know, I should take the cap off and have a look. But yeah, it doesn't have overheating issues, and the radiator's like smaller than that by about 25%. If I put that fan on it, whoosh, you could do hill climbs all day on a 40-degree day. So that just shows how much heat this thing makes. It's a tiny bit smaller engine, and it just cooks. So, oh well, tomorrow I'll see how it goes with this extra switch rigged in. And yeah, I just put it there with cork tape. I've done that before because it's well rated for these temperatures. So that shouldn't exceed 130, you know, and that's cooked your engine. And that cork tape's rated for about 180 or 200 or something. It's well within spec and sticks there nicely, so that should work well. You'll never get the probe inside one of these tiny hoses. That size of Datsun 1800. No, not 120Y hose. Tiny. Oh well, thanks for watching. Hope that ramble was fun. Oh yeah, I'll just that's that phone going. I'll unplug that. Yeah. I've wired it up so there's no feedback or anything. You've got to be careful that fans don't run things, or when things turn on it doesn't turn the aircon on. So that's all nicely done. And there's still a cat in the back of the car.